Hello, I'm Philip Stoughton from My House to Yours. Welcome to EMS at Sea Level. I am joined by Nick Wasserman. Nick is the CEO of PTG, used to be Pinnacle Technology Group. Nick, give me a brief introduction to you and the company, and then we'll dig into a bit of the detail. Give us an idea of the scale as well.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me on. PTG Electronics, formerly Pinnacle Technology Group, we made the branding switch as of January 1st, 2026, mainly just to kind of add clarity to who we are as a business. The term Pinnacle was overused and was getting lost really in the ethos of the world. So we kind of paid homage by the acronym, but then added the electronics to really kind of cement in who we are and what we do. But PTG at its core is a 40-year-old business at this point. We were established in 1984. It was a company that my father took over ownership in 1996, and our family's owned it ever since. As of the last 3 to 4 years, we've been in a transition period where he's starting to step away and into retirement, and I've kind of taken over the day-to-day operation of the business.
Yeah, and Dad's down in Florida, I think.
Yeah, for part of the year, mainly the cold weather months. Yeah, so you won't find him here much from October to April. So,
oh, that's nice. There you go. That gives you a chance to get on with stuff, doesn't it? So, let's explore some of the markets and what you're into. You've recently added a few approvals, which maybe gives you access to some different markets. Give me an idea of the market mix and what do you specialize in?
Yeah, so we've been ISO 9001 certified for about 25 years at this point, and we historically operated in that commercial and industrial marketplace. We're very diversified in the products and companies that we service, and that's by design. That allows us to gain expertise in multiple areas, but it also allows us to hedge some of those tougher economic times a little bit better. And that's paid dividends over the years. But most recently, and just as of 2 weeks ago, we are AS9100 aerospace certified. So that's been a strategic initiative that we've been working on now for about the last year and a half. And really the idea behind that is, one, it is a good growth market just in general. But then also it really fits our niche and our model better. We're not a super high volume manufacturer. We're really looking for the higher complexity stuff in that more mid-range volume type of space.
Yeah, and it makes sense, doesn't it? You want that challenging work. You want the stuff where the relationship becomes really important, and it's not just about scale and shaving every cent off the cost. That becomes hugely valuable, doesn't it? When you look at that mil-aero space, it tends to be a little bit more full with the mil side of things. There's lots going on in the drone space in different areas of that. Is that business that you're looking at and you're starting to see inquiries for?
Yeah, and so that has been a huge uptick. I mean, we were excited to get into aero in general, and we've been our sales efforts have been across the board in terms of anyone in that market. But we have seen a significant interest in the drone space. Currently, we're engaged at least at a quoting level with about 5 different companies that all have kind of their unique spin on drone marketplace, the types of areas again within that they serve, and that's been really, really cool. And quite honestly, we're based here in Southeast Michigan. We've seen a tremendous amount of activity in Michigan, so it seems like there's a lot of drone activity specifically here in this state as well. So it's been really exciting for us.
Yeah, and do you see that as drone companies that were perhaps commercial previously and were much more in the pro-consumer kind of space moving into the mil-aero space, or are they new startups that are very specific to mil-aero?
So yeah, we've got a little blend of both. The majority of them though are kind of newer to the space, but they have in a lot of cases they are getting supported by either the government or the aerospace industry to kind of continue to design and develop their technologies. And obviously the demand seems to be pretty good, at least from what we can tell. Obviously it's very early stages, but a lot of upside it seems.
Yeah, the demand signals are strong. And Nick, I think it's really interesting when you work with these startups that are entering new spaces and want to scale up. They're the ones that can really benefit from a really strong EMS partnership because you can actually become their manufacturing arm. You can teach them supply chain. You can do everything that allows them to focus on getting the product right and getting their own marketing right.
Absolutely. And, sometimes it's always nice to get some existing business and bring it in because you know that the demand and the forecasting is there. But we do really like getting into some of these things on the front end because it allows us not only to get that relationship very strongly built, but we can play a role in the design for manufacturability, making sure that it's not only achieving the goals that they have set, but it's also manufacturable on a repeatable, state. So that's a tremendous upside for us, getting in on the front end.
Yeah, and it makes a big difference. It's not just designed for manufacturability, it's designed for manufacturability at the right scale, and that means within your model of manufacturing. You've done quite a lot of work there since you took over from your father and focused quite heavily on digital transformation. Does that enable you to be a little bit more agile, a little bit faster with these new products because the ramp demand is quite high?
Yeah. So we've, obviously the AI boom is affecting everybody. I will not say we were at the forefront of that, but we did try to adopt a lot of that as early as possible. And a lot of that has been instituted as of late to try to speed those things up and be able to handle this demand. So, for instance, we've been recently engaged with a new quoting tool that is optimizing AI to do that process significantly faster than we used to. And even the onboarding. So once we receive a PO, it's a prototype bot now that will actually process all of the customer documentation, and it will align it, assign part numbers, and get that whole purchasing. And then, the lead time gets started much quicker than it would have historically.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference. That's a kind of game changer. I think what's fascinating with AI is it's had so many impacts on our industry. It's changing the way we operate, which I think is really exciting. And much as I see success in areas you've seen, like supply chain and the business processes that relate to EMS, we haven't seen it perhaps as much as we'd like to on the factory floor. So that's coming. But the other thing it's done is it's created this hyperscaler demand. And much as you might not be building server boards for AI, the companies that are further or are much larger are doing that. I wonder if there's a trickle down effect where you see more business that they're perhaps leaving behind as they chase that very, very high volume.
I can't say that I have a direct correlation to that, but it is interesting you bring that up because we have seen a significant increase just in overall activity here over the last, especially, year and a half, almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
The demand for quote opportunities and just general interest in either switching or different or new startups that need EMS support has been significantly higher than it has, in the past several years combined. So I would assume there's at least a part of that is because of exactly what you mentioned, but I don't have any data to back that up exactly. So.
Yeah. And when you look at those new quotes and those new companies that are coming in, having that AI-driven speed to quote, which gives you much faster access to what's available, what's on allocation in the bill of materials, is that something that they really value? Are they expecting their quotes to be done and turned around much quicker? And is it like first in, best dressed? And if you're too late to the party, nobody really wants to hear what you've got to say?
Yeah, there's still a delicate balance between speed and price, right? We all know that getting good, especially when material carries such a heavy weight in the overall price point of an electronics assembly, you really have to be careful how you balance the speed versus the price that you throw out there. So we can do a quote in 48 hours, but it's going to be list pricing over the internet, and it's probably not going to be super attractive, right? So, but yes, ultimately, what we found is it enables our ability to get that request out to our vendor list is now increased significantly, which allows them to start that clock sooner. So we can at least better balance that, getting them a quicker quote with desirable pricing, in a shorter time frame.
Yeah. The other thing we've seen with the hyperscalers is an impact on the supply chain um, as you buy materials. We're seeing blockages in memory. We're seeing semiconductor issues. Recently, I'm starting to hear more about printed circuit board issues, and I think that is a laminate issue rather than the
Mhm.
actual printed circuit board capacity. Are those things that are impacting your business?
Yeah, the memory was obviously kind of the first and foremost.
Mm,
It just seems, and then it's the trickle down effect into all of the other parts because the demand is preferenced based upon when you can get those parts. So then the availability of everything else seems to be taking a little bit of a hit, kind of, after that. But yeah, we've had several customers not totally shut down, thankfully, but we are seeing some lengthening of lead times or
yeah,
slight move outs in terms of our production schedule, just because things are a little bit late or they're not coming in, the exactly when you had originally anticipated.
yeah,
Yeah, most recently, I was interesting to see the issues with the laminate on the circuit board side. We do have a nice blend. We do get a percentage of our bare boards here in the United States,
okay,
but fundamentally most of them are built overseas. And so that FR4 material or the glass issue that they're having, I can't say I've seen that in my history, or at least I don't remember it. So that's a unique
no, yeah.
that we're crossing there. So I guess to be determined on exactly what effect that has. Right now, though, we're in at least a pretty good spot with regards to our forecasted plan.
Yeah, yeah, it is quite surprising. It's not something I've seen in the past, and much as we've decried the reduction of PCB capacity in Europe and in the US as it's all moved to Asia, it's a surprise that we have the capacity there, but we perhaps can't fill it because of that FR4 material. I don't know what the capacity of the US to produce FR4 is, but certainly for Europe, most of it's made in Asia, and that has a big effect.
Yeah, the last data that I had was about we do about 4% of our own domestic PCB,
Mm,
true PCB manufacturing, which is obviously a
yeah,
very, very small amount. Where I think at one point it was 60 to 70%,
yeah,
many years ago now. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we rely very heavily on overseas.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was one of those products that shifted overseas very quickly because it was easy to produce and pretty easy to ship around the world. So we'll see how that corrects. When you think about all those additional bids that you've been receiving and quotes you've been doing, do you think some of that is the impact of tariffs? Do you think the trade war or the decoupling a little bit and the swing back from globalization is actually producing more demand for US EMS companies, particularly at your scale?
Yeah, I mean, I do think at the very least it got people thinking that a
Mm,
second source was more of a fundamental need as opposed to maybe a nice to have previously. And so I do see where a lot of that was kind of driven by that uncertainty over the last year with the regard to the tariff
mm,
scenarios. But it is nice to see that because obviously we are a sole United States company, so we don't have any
mm.
kind of an overseas support system. And so having those opportunities come in is really great. And we have seen a few of them transition too. So I do think at some level, some of that might have just been quoting activity for the sake of quoting activity.
Yeah,
But at the same time, it got people thinking about it, which I do believe is a good thing for the longevity of our industry as a whole. I mean,
yeah,
especially you consider how everything anymore has circuitry and intelligence in it. So it's the demand's only going up. So having
yeah.
having the ability to balance that is important.
Yeah. What about foreign companies like European companies that think, okay, well, we're manufacturing some of our products inside inside Asia, some inside Europe, but with the current environment, we perhaps need a little bit of manufacturing in the US. Are you seeing companies from outside the US come to you?
Yeah, in fact, we have a current opportunity now that we're still in the quoting stages of a company out of Europe that has asked us to quote their product, and all their whole intent would be for the product to be built here in America, and then they have a sales office set up here, and we would essentially kind of house that product for them, and then they would use a distribution company to ship that off elsewhere. But that was I was excited to see that too, and it seemed like it was a kind of a smart move because that's how they've set their business up. They have an Asian arm, a European arm, and now a North American arm, which I think is going to be really great for them long term.
And that's really great for you, Nick, because it really shows your skill in terms of not just how you manufacture, but that kind of configure to order, build to order kind of model where you're actually the front end of the fulfillment as well at that end. It feels very much like that's some of the true turnkey value of EMS.
Yeah, and really that's what we've always kind of prided ourselves on is doing as much as the customer needs us to do for them. So this isn't our first time around with almost kind of full-blown fulfillment. I mean, we had a customer in the past that they told us all they wanted to do is cash checks. So we actually had a stockpile of product, and we would ship it. We shipped it around the country to individual customers, which was kind of unique. We had our pack slips had their logo on it. I mean, it was kind of fully done, which was interesting.
Yeah, and I do think it's really neat, and it actually shows a great degree of confidence in what you're doing. If your customer is happy for you to ship direct to their customer, that shows a real commitment to that partnership. And those partnerships are where you really add value and you really build those sticky relationships. So that's super important and super valuable. Nick, congratulations on what you're doing. Keep doing it. Keep us informed of new developments, and I look forward to chatting again to you soon. But thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.